Hey everyone, Mystical Mark here. So this will be your weekly astrology forecast for the week of December 22nd to the 28th of 2024. Before we jump into the charts for this week, we'll kind of just, do the stuff I got to do here. So if you are looking for a reading with me, you can head on over to my Etsy shop at mysticalmarkastro.etsy.com. If you want to support me as a Ko-Fi member, you can head on over to my Ko-Fi. There's also the Discord server if you're interested in that. And of course, one of the easiest and most simplest ways to help is, of course, just hit that like button if you like this video, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, hit that follow button if you're on TikTok. It helps the algorithm to do its algorithm thing. All right, and of course, all the links to everything I just mentioned are in the description if you're on YouTube and in my bio if you are on TikTok. Okay, so let us get into the video here for this week. Let me just grab the chart here. Okay, so we're going to start here on Sunday the 22nd. And of course, for those who don't know why I'm mentioning two platforms in the same video, it's because I use the same, so I use OBS to record this, and then I record the horizontal for YouTube in the main OBS canvas, and then I have the vertical plugin where I have a vertical canvas set up, so they're recording at the same time in two separate video files. So that's how I'm able to do this, so that each platform gets the exact same reading, even though the format is different, so it's formatted specifically for each platform. All right, just thought I would mention that in case anybody ever wonders. But yeah, that's how I do it. Okay, so Sunday here, the 22nd. So this is when we're going to have our last quarter moon here. Sorry, excuse me, my throat. I just had lunch, and then whenever I have lunch, it's like, you get all, you know what I mean. Anyway, let's just get on with the reading. So last quarter moon here. So we've got the sun here at Capricorn at 1 degree, and then the moon here in Libra at 1 degree. So as soon as I hit the moon there, what I felt coming through was an aspect of balance that needs to occur here surrounding this square. So at the end of the last week's video, we had this idea of this expansion and change and transformation stuff grounding in as the sun entered into Capricorn. I believe it's the exact previous day, so that would be on Saturday the 21st. So we're still kind of carrying over now with this energy, and I say last video because that was last week's video, okay? But, or the end of last week's video, so I feel like there's like a long gap here, but there really isn't. It's the next day. It's just, I'm recording this video now, and last video I recorded last week. So anyway, what I'm trying to say here, excuse me, oh my god, is that note to self, maybe don't eat lunch right away before doing these videos. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say here is that with this square, maybe there's an aspect of balance that needs to come through with whatever is being grounded in through this expansion. Okay, it's relating to an aspect of balance is what I'm getting. Aspect of justice, balance coming through in terms of whatever that expansion, that awareness, that expansion was. Remember, with the Mercury retrograde here in Sagittarius, as well as Jupiter in Mercury sign of Gemini. So I said there was like the mutual retrograde reception between these two planets. So whatever was kind of coming up there, this energy was very highlighted. And of course, with the sun there, you just watch last week's video and then you'll understand what the hell I'm talking about with all of this stuff and the previous videos as well. But yeah, so I feel like with this grounding in now, we're grounding in, and with that square to the moon, it's like that balance. One thing I heard was an emotional balance, especially since we are dealing with the moon here. But I also feel like, and the dying smoke detector in the hallway agrees. But we may hear that quite often. I still have to fix that, but anyway. So there's could be an emotional balance, or likely a balancing out for whatever is now being grounded in with this energy. Remember, this will be the first time that we're having a Capricorn season without Pluto here, okay? Pluto will not be coming into Capricorn for the next like 200 and whatever years. So again, the smoke detector agrees. So we're now in Pluto in Aquarius season. Of course, Pluto was still in shadow period. It's not going to come out of shadow, I believe, until the beginning of February-ish. So we're still kind of in that energy. But again, we're grounding in whatever that expansion that was coming through at the end of last week's video there, that expansion of awareness, expansion of change, etc. So I was talking about, I believe, the semi-sextile here to Pluto, as well as that biquintile to Uranus and other things like that. All right. I'm hearing like peaceful balance, peace and balance in some way regarding that square. So, okay. Also on this day, we're going to have the Sun here in semi-square to Juno. So we can see that semi-square to the Sun here to Juno. So this could actually have a lot to deal with aspects of our partnerships. It can deal with relationships, but this is a committed relationship, okay? Juno deals with contractual partnerships, committed relationships like marriages. It could also be business contracts. I've said before, maybe even soul contracts, other things like that, where there's a committed partnership and relationship, okay? And in Scorpio, it's intensifying those things, but it's also that transformation of those things. And again, I'm hearing it's grounding in this aspect of transformation. Okay, there may be a boundary that needs to be set that's like, hey, we got to deal with this, whatever this is, but it's kind of grounding it in and maybe putting that focus. There's that harshness to kind of Capricorn that's like, okay, we got to deal with this now. And that could also relate to that aspect of balance too. We got to deal with this now in terms of whatever the expansion, because remember, we're heading into new energy, heading into next year. Okay, the nodes are going to shift. We can already see them 2 degrees here, so they're gonna shift. I did a video on that with a bit of a intuitive insight into what was coming through, with the message that was coming through, prior to this. So pay attention to that. Whenever I tend to burp like that, it's like, pay attention. Prior to whatever that was, or whatever this will be, what was? Basically what I said in the video. But what this will be in terms of that nodal shift, happening at the beginning of next year in January. I believe it happens like mid-January-ish, and where what we knew or thought was practical and normal, or well, say normal, but what we thought was like practical and what we're kind of used to doing isn't going to be really the thing anymore. And that can feel like with the the South Node in Virgo, which is a Mercury ruled sign, it could deal like a constant Mercury retrograde. Like I said, with the South Node in Libra, a Venus ruled sign, it could deal like a constant Venus retrograde, especially in terms of like relationships and stuff, since that's a Libran theme. And of course, with Virgo, it's what seems practical, what's our day-to-day stuff, detail-oriented stuff, right? That's kind of, there's going to be a Mercury retrograde, might feel like a Mercury retrograde regarding those themes for the next 18 months, right? And with North Node in Pisces, especially coming into that conjunction to Neptune, we're heading into the unknown. Right? We're heading into an area of space, or maybe of space, I don't know why I said that, but of space maybe, that we don't know about. Okay, we do have Pluto in Aquarius here, but we're heading into an area where we're heading into the unknown, where anything is possible, right? This is very mutable energy, okay? We're moving from cardinal energy, which is moving in a new direction, to now we're moving into mutable energy, which is changeable, it's malleable. Right, so new directions and change. And of course, with this energy, like I talked about in last week's video, you can see with this expansion and all of this other stuff kind of coming through, we're in this place of beginning whatever this next journey is. Smoke alarm agrees again. Whatever this next journey is, energetically, astrologically, etc. Okay. Another thing that I should have mentioned right at the beginning of this video that I normally do, that I want to start doing, is that I tend to get a lot of stuff coming through intuitively. So when I'm talking about future things, if I mention anything about events or such like that, that's from this specific vantage point going forward, okay? That is subject to change, of course, because we all have free will. Smoke alarm agrees, okay? Oh my God. When we, what am I talking about here? Okay, astrology, Continuing on, astrology is an energetic template conducive to certain things. So even though those things could shift and change due to aspects of free will, those energetic themes are still going to play a role going on there, despite whatever change in path or whatever is going on, okay? So yeah. All right. So yeah, dealing with contractual partnerships, the transformation therein, like I said, it can also be a grounding in of whatever that transformation that's occurring to is another thing that is coming through with that, and really just kind of dealing with it, putting in the work to really deal with whatever needs to be transformed or faced as well with this energy. Scorpio gets to the bottom of things. It's deep desire, focus, getting to the bottom of whatever needs to be transformed and changed in whatever way it needs to be. All right, we're also going to have the sun in quintile to Black Moon Lilith in Libra. Okay, so a quintile is that behind the scenes feminine type of aspect. Could almost so feel like fate or something working through from like another unknown place or from a behind the scenes place. So that could strongly be coming through here, where this is becoming grounded in terms of where we may have been outcast. And this is in Libra, in terms of maybe a lack of justice, in terms of our relationships, partnerships, codependency, where we've been like put upon, all of that kind of stuff. But it feels like almost like there's this feminine energy that's really helping with this now to bring maybe more solidified focus on this. I feel like with this Capricorn energy, it's really grounding this stuff in and making it more tangible as to maybe what is exactly going on maybe in certain situations and things. Like it's really grounding in this kind of stuff, but there's a creative flow here. I feel like because Black Moon Lilith here is also where we need to heal those spaces, and in that case it's through balance in Libra, through actual balance, justice, those kinds of things, and balance within relationships, which means focusing on the aspect of self as well. Respecting the other within the relationship, but also respecting the self, which means allowing the other to be themselves as well, allowing us to be ourselves, and understanding that and the validity within that and the balance within that that is occurring there as well. All right, so there could be a bit of that coming through. I don't really feel like this is negative. I feel like this is fairly positive in terms of this expansive stuff. And I feel like maybe this is, with this quintile here, it's more of, there's stuff coming through, something behind the scenes that either has been working on or we're working on, or possibly other help that's been helping us from another realm, behind the scenes, whatever that is, in terms of grounding this in. But it's like, I feel like it's healing or changing in some way. Because we've got this idea of partnerships, we got this aspect of relationships, we got Venus, the ruler of Libra here, of this energy in Aquarius. So there's an aspect of change here, and that is in also a semi-square to the sun here in Capricorn. So there's, like I said, there's a grounding into this aspect of change, of shaking things up, of change, rebellion. Something's going on here regarding this energy. So I think that's what I'm really feeling, that there's a change that is occurring here. Ultimately, to heal whatever this is, likely, right? So yeah, anyway, that's just what's coming through, okay? And again, I'm being drawn back to this quarter moon, that aspect of balance that needs to occur here and come through. All right, so that's Sunday the 22nd. Let's move on to Monday here, the 23rd. So of course now we're going to have the sun in quintile to Saturn. Okay, so again, we're kind of dealing... Do these have... Yeah, okay, so then we have Black Moon Lilith in biquintile to Saturn. So we got a little bit of a thing going on here. I don't know if I would call that a yod. It would be... Not really, it's more of... It's a triangle of sorts. Half of a... Actually, I'm not even sure what kind of shape you would call that. I wonder if that is an astrological, because there's like the shapes, like a kite, a grand square, a grand cross, whatever you want to call it, all the fancy things, a yod, all that kind of stuff. But I've never actually seen that. Interesting. expanding my knowledge and learning to here as well. Anyways, so with this, I feel like this is all kind of interrelated because I have talked about before, and if you look at my previous videos, where Saturn in Pisces is the dissolution of that malefic energy, okay? The dissolution of that restriction and control and all of that. And also here, Saturn teaches through restriction. Okay, so with Saturn in Pisces, and I've also talked about this before, Pisces can also deal a lot with compassion. Okay, so Saturn in Pisces could be a restriction of that, or the lesson that that's maybe where we need to expand in a lot of ways too. Smoke alarm agrees. Okay, so and with all of these kind of like really aspecting in this way, especially since, you know, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn here, we got the Sun in Capricorn now highlighting this space, and especially with that quintile to Black Moon Lilith as well. Excuse me, there's this strong feminine energy coming through, but there's maybe a maleficness or a negativeness, excuse me, to whatever that Black Moon Lilith was, and that is now kind of being dissolved. So there's that aspect. I'm being drawn to the semi-square again to Venus. There's that aspect of change that is now grounding in, surrounding a lot of whatever that is. So there's something happening behind the scenes. I'm kind of being drawn to the fact that Saturn in Pisces is almost like spirit taking control here as well. So take that for what you will. And well, and I mean, we are dealing with these, like I said, these quintiles. So this can feel like fate at points, at times, that stuff coming through. Remember, I've also talked about fate though. In terms of fate is we create our own fate through our own like manifestations, etc. In terms of what we agreed to before incarnating here and what we're manifesting throughout this incarnation that is coming through. All right, but sometimes we didn't agree to certain things that have happened, and then and then our higher selves or our team ends up being like, all right, we're gonna help you to fix this. And then that could be part of what this is as well. But again, and it's also could be like manifestations from source, and again, manifestation from our divine team, that kind of thing. It's all kind of working together in that way as well. And you have to remember the aspect of divine timing. So astrology, like I said, is an energetic template conducive to certain things. So that's why we have divine timing. When things shift into a certain, you know, vibrational alignment where something can become manifest, smoke alarm crazy, then things will kind of be coming through in that way. So, you know, that's kind of what you consider like your astrology chart to be. Like you had to be the character you wanted to play in this life. You had to come in at that certain time where the energies were conducive to creating that. All right, that's kind of what I'm reflecting in this area as well. Okay, also on this day, what I'm being drawn to now is, sorry, wrong thing here. It's the Sun in square to the nodes. Okay, so again, we're dealing with a lot. So I feel like, okay, where am I going with this? With that semi-square there to Venus, with Venus ruling over this stuff in Libra here, especially that Black Moon Lilith that I talked about with the Saturn quintile, etc. Venus is also ruling over the South Node still, like I said, South Node in Libra, with the Sun in square to this. Okay, this is strong cardinal energy, and I feel like it's surrounding this aspects of change. Maybe even an aspect of rebellion in these areas as well, but it's like that positive rebellion, shake up and change, because it's that rebellion that leads to change that needs to occur. All right? And the fact that this can deal a lot with maybe the people, places, things in our lives too. Remember, Venus also rules Taurus, where Uranus is, where we need to learn to see the value in change. And these are also the tough changes, the big changes that we need to make, because Taurus is very heavy and stubborn. All right, smoke alarm agrees again. And I've always said too that Uranus is like the cattle prod, to kick that bull in the ass to get it fucking moving, because the shit needs to fucking change. Every time I talk about this, there's like this strong energy that comes through. It's like shit needs to fucking change. Especially since Uranus is retrograde. This is stuff that we already know that needs to be fucking changed. So you're reworking or going over this old stuff that you know you should have changed already, but you still fucking haven't, and now you gotta fucking do it. Smoke alarm agrees. Hopefully I'm going tomorrow to get a new battery for that. However, anyway, Let's just, yeah. So again, with this square, so sun squaring nose is like a T-square, right? But we're dealing a lot with cardinal energy here. So this is really, okay, I'm feeling that aspect of change again coming through. We're moving in a new direction, right? And when it comes to aspects of relationships or people, places, things, with a south node there, that's a letting go of what is really no longer serving us. Maybe what made us feel outcast, what made us feel put upon, all of that kind of codependent, all that kind of stuff. That we need to let go of in terms of those Libran themes and move forward in terms of ourselves, right? This isn't a nod to being narcissistic or anything like that at all, okay? In fact, the negative aspect to this nodal configuration is narcissism, okay? Smoke alarm agrees. But that's not where we're going with this. You don't fucking forget about other people. Yes, you need to focus on yourself, but you have to allow the other person to focus and be themselves too. There's a balance that occurs here with this sign opposition, okay? This isn't about just you and only you. Yes, in a sense, but also no, because you have to allow that for the other people to experience and do that for themselves as well at the same time, okay? Get more agreement here. So yeah, so that could be where things have maybe been out of balance and maybe now we're kind of coming into that balance. So there's an expansion of awareness that kind of occurred last week and during the whole fucking Mercury retrograde shit. And now we're heading into maybe balancing this out. Remember, Mercury is still in post shadow. Okay, I forget the exact date. The Mercury leaves shadow, I think it's just after New Year's, heading into January. Because what was that, 20, 22, 23 degrees? Yeah, so I think it's around the end of next week. So watch for next week's video where I'll talk about that. Okay? All right. Also on this day too, we're going to have Venus sextile Chiron. Okay, so yeah. So there's an aspect of change and healing, like all of I've already mentioned that was coming up here. So this aspect of change and whatever is shaking up, whatever needs to be let go of, Venus is also in trine to this black moon Lilith as well. Okay, so change surrounding this, respecting our uniqueness, individuality, etc. And healing whatever wounds need to be healed. Remember, Chiron is retrograde, so it's a reworking, re-healing. This is all this old stuff that we need to relook at, refocus on, etc. That is coming up through this. Okay? All right. I don't think I need to say much more on that for now. I think I've said what I need to say. Let's move to Tuesday the 24th. Looks like an interesting day. So we're going to have Venus here in trine. This is where we're going to have that exact trine to black moon Lilith. So it's like I said, there could be an aspect of maybe rebellion going on here surrounding where we've been outcast in terms of our relationships, put upon, etc. But there's changes that are needing to be made, right? It's this aspect of change. And I'm now drawn to this square here that is building between Venus and Uranus in Taurus. These are big changes that we know that we've needed to make already, like I said. And now there's also this square here to Juno, which, lo and behold, is building in opposition to Uranus and Taurus. So now there's a T-square building here with this Venus energy, and maybe there's a change regarding these partnerships, contracts, relationships, whatever. But there's, outside of that, if we're going to focus just kind of specifically on this for now, and especially with this trine, there's a positive aspect of change away from maybe where we've been put upon, outcast, things have been out of balance, injustices, etc. With this energy. And of course with Venus, that deals with our relationships, but also our material things, Taurus. It can also relate to aspects of career as well, considering how we gain our material things and money, etc. is through career or vocation or what we do in our lives, etc. Okay? So, yeah, there's an aspect of change that is needing to occur there. Again, there's that common theme that is now coming up for everything that I've talked about so far in this video. All right? We're also going to have Jupiter in trine to Saturn. There's not trine. Square. Okay, well, maybe that trine was a Freudian slip or something, that maybe there's a lot more pause. So, okay. Yeah, with Jupiter here in Gemini, Jupiter expands what it touches. I've considered Saturn in Pisces the dissolution of the malefic energy. I'm being drawn to the fact now again that Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces. Pisces it's very expansive. There's no boundaries to Pisces, right? So with this square, anything square Saturn can be harsh, hard to deal with. But again, we're kind of, expanding on facing maybe what we need to face in these areas. Putting in the work, grounding in whatever this is, the dissolution of whatever that malefic energy is, that mutable, that tangible energy, that's, regarding aspects of change. But this is surrounding that expansion of awareness over old ground, old things, right? Jupiter is still retrograde here in square to that Saturn now. We're kind of really pushing to deal with this, to dissolve those old things, those old restrictions in that sense, and maybe even becoming more compassionate, like I said before. But there's that malleableness to Pisces there that is really kind of coming through, surrounding where we have needed to expand and where we're looking at those areas in terms of where we need to expand again, or still, I guess, is kind of what that would be. And again, we're having this Mercury building in opposition to Jupiter again, although Mercury is in both shadow. But like I said, look at my past videos regarding Mercury retrograde and such, and when I talked about this mutual retrograde reception that was happening between these two planets, this energy is still being intensified here in terms of this expansion of awareness, but it's expanding us, right? Through this expansion of awareness of the mind, through communication, through all of that, is expanding us, expanding our minds, expanding our beliefs, expanding our visions, expanding what we know and understand in a lot of ways. And we're dissolving these aspects of like restriction and control in that way. And we're grounding in those new ideas, those new things, that new stuff that is coming through all of this that has been occurring. All right, Jupiter is also going to be in quintile to the North Node here. So again, there's this creative behind the scenes type energy, whether we're the ones working on this behind the scenes or whether that's something that has been worked on that is now coming through in this sense to help to push us and move us forward at this last bit of North Node in Aries, to take action to move forward into those new spaces there. All right, there could be an aspect of this Mars retrograde that is playing a role there, because Mars does rule Aries with the North Node here. Maybe these are things that like I said, it's behind the scenes work. So stuff that we've been working on previously that now we're taking action on those previous things that need to push forward. This could deal a lot with, like I said, that masculine energy that is, I almost wanted to say learning a lesson. This could be positive masculine energy coming back, but we're reworking like this masculine energy, especially in Leo. I've said this before, the expression of that masculine energy. And of course, Leo, the positive expression of Leo is coming from the heart. The negative expression of Leo is being extremely egotistical. So, yeah. So expressing this, maybe taking a look at this and maybe learning more to express from the heart and move forward in that positive masculine way is something that can also be coming through here too. But again, I feel like this is very much this expansive type stuff coming through. And like I said, it could seem like fate, or I was going to say like we could be getting help, but what it feels like to me is more like that behind the scenes type of work. Something has been being worked on here. You've put in your blood, sweat, and tears. This is very creative type energy as well, very feminine. But again, it's maybe that feminine and masculine helping each other out here to come into that balanced state to help to push forward and expand in these new areas of awareness and direction as well. This could also be like maybe hidden stuff that was behind the scenes kind of coming out to push us forward and expand our awareness and such in that way as well too. All right. Also here we're going to have Juno in sesqui square to the north node here, and also in semi-square to the south node. So again, this idea of contracts, business partnerships, relationships, partnerships, marriages, those kinds of things that are looking to be transformed and changed. So there's an aspect of where we need to move in a new direction, where we need to take action surrounding moving in a new direction and letting go of, there could be people, places, things, as South Node, Libra, Venus rules that space. So basically kind of what I've already talked about in a lot of ways. But with this sesquiquadrate or sesquisquare, is known as like a super square. So it's a minor aspect, well, it's a minor aspect in astrology. However, I don't think the minor aspects are very minor. I think they're quite powerful in and of themselves. Okay, but anyway. So with this sesquisquare here, smoke alarm agrees, the sesquisquare here are dealing with whatever this transformation here is occurring that's really pushing us. It's almost like that needs to occur to really push us in this new direction, and it's something that cannot be swept under the rug any longer. It's that super square that's really pushing for that resolution, that transformation to occur here. This is very Mars type energy as well, as Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, and obviously rules Aries as well. Remember, Mars is retrograde in Leo. So we're going over these old things. I'm not sure if I just heard the doorbell or not. Okay, so sorry, had to go check the door. There's nobody there, but whatever, I guess. Okay, so where the hell was I? Juno, making minor aspects to the nodes. All right, so was dealing with Mars type energy. I think I was talking about Mars and Leo. What this kind of feels like now, actually, is because of this Mars retrograde, that this is stuff that is stuff that we've needed to take action on surrounding whatever maybe this partnership, relationship type energy is, contract type energy is, could be soul contracts, could be anything like that, that really needs to be looked at, transformed, put it like a focus on. And intensely, there's an intensity surrounding this. Smoke alarm agrees. That with these, there's this aspect that we really need to push forward, maybe in some way with that. But again, it's that Mars energy of where we need to take action on this. And with Mars and Leo, it's almost like I'm being drawn to. It's bringing it into the light, bringing it into focus now with that retrograde, in terms of now where we need to be headed. In that new direction, and what needs to be let go of here. Of course, South Node and Libra can deal with a lot of times aspects of codependency, injustices, relationships, letting go of certain things like that, etc. Okay, so just kind of, but there's something there regarding that sesquisquare. It can't be swept under the rug any longer surrounding that. So yeah, all right. Sorry, I really got thrown off with the fucking doorbell. At least I thought I heard the doorbell. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what that was? Maybe the cats are doing something. I don't know. I don't think they rang the doorbell because they're inside, but you never know. Whatever. Anyways, they get into all kinds of crazy things. So also on this day, we're going to have the Sun in quincunx to Mars as well. So Sun in Capricorn with this quincunx to Mars in Leo. I feel like this is a lot more of this grounding in of whatever. Okay. Kind of feel into this for a moment here. Sun, Capricorn, quincunx, Mars, and Leo. Okay, it's dealing, so with the quincunx is tending to be that kind of frustration. It's actually dealing with it now. So Capricorn is like it's like that boss energy. I was going to say it's like grounding in certain things, but we're dealing with this more of in a practical sense now. You're kind of dealing with whatever is coming up here or being illuminated with this Mars retrograde in terms of, okay, it almost feels like a masculine thing. I talked about in previous videos surrounding this idea of the masculine energy. So we all have both divine masculine and divine feminine and divine masculine and divine feminine energy within all of us. Okay? And that's regardless of what your sexual orientation is or gender identity or any of that. That is, of course, all still valid. But we have both energies within all of us. And of course, when they're working together in harmony and in balance, is when we're working in our optimal space. So this is kind of maybe going over those old spaces of that masculine expression. It's what's coming through and what has come through before in the previous videos. Okay, so that masculine expression that is coming through. Okay, I think I might have been getting what I'm getting now with this. All right, that why is this video so fucked up? The masculine expression and maybe surrounding that aspects of control too. But what this is grounding in those aspects of where we need to relook at this stuff and take action to maybe really refocus the expression of whatever this masculine energy is. Because you have to remember, we've been in such negative patriarchal world and society that what we see in terms of a lot of masculine energy is very negative masculine energy. It's like old world masculine energy that we don't, that we don't really want, but that we never really should have had in the first place, because there's a very strong positive expression of the masculine that honestly really needs to come through. Because there's a lot of stuff going on, where people hate men, or men are shit, or all this other stuff. When it's like, well, there's an actual, and it's not just men, because we all have masculine energy within all of us. But it's the positive, we have to move towards the positive expression of that, and not the negative shit that we're used to fucking dealing with all the time, right? So there's a frustration here, maybe surrounding what is coming up with this retrograde in this expression, and what we need to ground in, maybe surrounding what's being looked at here, or what we're being called to actually put the work in to face, right? So ground in and put the work in to face. And of course, that can also, with this quincunx, deal with the negative aspects of Capricorn too, which can be surrounding aspects of control, and how maybe that masculine energy was wanting to control. But there's a frustration here in terms of what we're re-looking at with this Mars retrograde and with that quincunx to the sun, in terms of what's being illuminated regarding the expression of that Mars, or that masculine type of energy that is coming through here. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the 25th here. So on the 25th, I have nothing major in my list here peaking on this day. So I just have another app on my phone that I go through all of the aspects here. Of course, the one on my phone doesn't have all of the minor aspects. I have more minor aspects listed on here. So there could be stuff going on, but I talk about enough in these videos, okay? The messages are still coming through, so yeah. All right, so now let's look at Thursday the 26th. So on Thursday the 26th here, we're going to have the Jupiter here again in the quintile to the North Node. So the nodes, they kind of wibble wobble. Like they do retrograde sometimes, like as you can see now it's retrograde. In previous parts of this video you would see that the letters or the numbers were white, so it would have been direct, right? So they wibble wobble a bit, and I can see it's going to happen again on Saturday as well. So there's this wibble wobble here with this Jupiter constantly peaking in that quintile aspect to the North Node. So it's kind of like that, like I said before, that's that behind the scenes work surrounding this aspect of awareness and really trying to push us forward. So it's like constantly peaking multiple times, like, hey, hey, hey. It's like there's this strong aspect of awareness that really needs to occur here surrounding our beliefs, the expansion of those beliefs into new directions, moving into new directions, maybe in new beginnings, things like that. This is very Jupiterian, Sagittarian, but also Mercurial, as we've related to this Mercury retrograde here in Sagittarius. Like I said, this is very... these two planets have been emphasizing the energies of these two signs, but it's this expansion of the awareness of the mind. There's things that are being communicated to us, or even just an expansion of the mind, and a lot of that could even have been behind the scenes as well, maybe more introspective, as we were dealing with a Mercury retrograde and a Jupiter retrograde. Now we're just dealing with that Jupiter retrograde here, but it's the Jupiter retrograde that's making the aspect here. So it's almost like that introspective part that is now coming through to expand our awareness in that way and to move forward in a new direction as well. So again, it's just kind of what I've already talked about surrounding that aspect. Excuse me. Oh my God. Also on this day, we're going to have Mercury in exact opposition to Jupiter as well. So this is highlighting, again, I'm being drawn to the fact that Mercury was retrograde. It went over this opposition once already. Now we're going over it again in post-shadow. So keep in mind, whatever happened during Mercury's pre-shadow, retrograde, and now in the post-shadow period, what happened during the retrograde and the pre-shadow, that is likely coming up again here to be looked at again, right, in terms of wherever we need to expand our awareness here again, right? And I'm being drawn to now Uranus's north node is in conjunction here, and the south node conjunct Mercury. So it's likely there's maybe because Mercury was retrograde and in shadow, this old stuff that maybe we're needing to let go of surrounding these changes that we need to make and expand and move forward into new understandings, new beliefs, new areas of life in that way, right? So I'm also being drawn here to this square to Saturn. So Saturn is kind of like, it's in the T-square to this, all right? So there's this expansion in terms of that dissolution of that malefic energy and expanding into maybe more unknown territory, into the vastness where anything is possible, right, as we begin to move forward here. Okay. So we're also going to have Mercury here in quintile to the south node. All right, so we got Jupiter here in quintile to the north node, Mercury in quintile to the south node. They're in opposition in the T-square to Saturn. So like I said, and with Jupiter conjunction Uranus's south node here, Uranus is actually in Venus's sign, which is ruling the south node. Guys, all of this is just kind of tied together. Like, this is really surrounding this, whatever awareness is coming up regarding our beliefs and beliefs of the mind, thoughts, all this stuff, we're expanding into new areas. And that's going to be even more so once we experience that nodal shift with that north node in Pisces and heading into that conjunction to Neptune. There we're moving where anything is possible. I mean, anything has already been possible. It's just that we've been so restricted through the bullshit of our fucking world, fucking belief systems. All of this crap has been so fucking restrictive that we weren't able to, you're not able to see the forest for the trees. It's like you're only seeing in certain like limited vision, but now this expansion, we're heading into new energy, to new spaces, right? We need to expand. We need to be aware that now we're heading into the unknown where absolutely anything is fucking possible, right? So, and like I said, this is, the quintile is that behind the scenes, very strong feminine type energy, but it's like, it's stuff that we've already been working on is kind of really what I feel that is. But with this, it's like I said, it's that letting go of stuff so that we can change, right? But this is stuff that we've already been working on. There's retrograde stuff here. There's post-shadow retrograde stuff here. Like, we're all kind of reworking this. These cycles are slowly moving to get us into a new space, to bring us to a new place of awareness. So surrounding these aspects of change that are needing to fucking occur. All right. There's also this quad novile here. Okay, noviles are that aspect of like what we're giving birth to, what the energies are working towards, to what we need to learn or to give birth to in a certain way. So there's like a letting go and this expansion of awareness. It's that, and through this aspect of change. All right, it's quad novile between this Mercury conjunct Uranus' south node with this quad novile to actual Uranus retrograde in Taurus. This changes that we need to fucking make. We're learning to give birth to the new, to change. And I'm being drawn to this fertileness of Taurus, of like that giving birth to this kind of stuff as well, really, even though that is an aspect of the novile. We're giving birth to these aspects of change, expansion, awareness, moving in a new direction. All right, it's really beginning to start to come through as we're heading into that nodal shift. Okay, so we'll move on to Friday the 27th now, where we're going to have that exact square with Mercury square Saturn. Again, like I said, it's dissolution of that malefic energy, but the first thing that I kind of felt with this was there's likely going to be an intensity with this. Anytime you have a square to Saturn, there's that intensity with that, especially now we're in Capricorn season. Saturn rules Capricorn. Okay, but with that square now, with Mercury here and Sagittarius in post shadow, like I said, with that opposition to Jupiter, it's that expansion, but the dissolution of that malefic energy. But it can be tough because we're facing those restrictions, but where we need to expand now. Okay, we're facing those restrictions, but now where we need to expand. And we've gone over all of this stuff with that mutual retrograde reception that I talked about in my previous fucking videos. Okay? This could be tough because in a lot of ways, especially in terms of belief systems, because even in my past videos, I've had talked about negative aspects of religion and that stuff really coming up in a lot of ways as well. You know, people have been manipulated through fear and guilt into believing things that they can be controlled instead of them having control over their own lives. Right? So, and it can be really tough to let go of something that you've been manipulated into believing was true for your entire life. So, and that's one aspect to this that, you know, could be occurring here. But a lot of this is expansion, especially with Pisces. There's no limit to Pisces. And there's strong Jupiter energy here, and with Jupiter, the traditional ruler of Pisces, like I said, there's a letting go of this, and it's dealing with that malefic energy. And it's Saturn, it can be tough, but it's like we've got to let go of that old restrictive negative shit so that we can expand our awareness and move into those new spaces, right? It's just more along the lines of what I've already said for this whole video, basically. So Saturday the 28th, again, we're going to have that Jupiter in quintile to the North Node. All right. I think it's because they're both, like, the nodes wibble wobble, and then Jupiter's also retrograde, so it's kind of like they're just having fun going back and forth with each other there. Okay, so just same stuff. It's just happening again today. But also on this day, we're going to have Venus in square to, and now an exact square to Uranus. All right. Of course, this happens like really early in the morning, I think. Let me just take a look here. Okay, yeah, I read that as 11:41 a.m. I'm like, that's not really early. It's 1:41 a.m. Central Time is when that square is occurring. So, because as you can see, Venus is already at 24 degrees here, but it does occur at that 23 degree mark. Okay, so with that square, with that square happening, again, dealing with these aspects of change, like I've already talked about regarding these Venus-related themes, it's just heading on to what I've already talked about previously in this video when I brought this up already. Now it's peaking on this day. Okay, so there's a lot of themes here surrounding change, expansion, masculine, feminine energy, letting go of old shit that's no longer serving us, all of that stuff. There seems to be a lot of the main themes that are really coming through for this week. Also here we've got Mercury in semi-square to Pluto. So again, Mercury still in post-shadow, now in that semi-square to Pluto, emphasizing this transformational aspect surrounding change. And with Mercury in Sagittarius, this expansion, awareness of the mind, of communication, all of those things. So there's a change that needs to occur, an expansion that needs to occur in a lot of this energy. It's just change, expansion, rebellion, shaking things up, moving in a new direction. And of course, with all these retrogrades and all this stuff kind of happening, we're slowly kind of like ticking the clock forward into these areas, because coming in 2025, we're going to have lots of astrological shifts. The nodes are going to shift. We're going to have lots of outer planets shifting, which means the main themes of energy are really beginning to change here. We're heading into a place of change. We're heading into a place of the unknown, but the unknown doesn't have to be scary, because the unknown can be whatever we want to make it to be, right? We have strong manifestation power. We are all fractals of source, all right? Do not allow yourself to be diminished by old, outdated bullshit and beliefs. Okay, and that could be something that's coming through with this stuff. We all have the power to change, to make things what we want to make it, how we want to make it. Even though there's certain energetic themes that are occurring, we can express that positively, we can express that negatively, or whatever in between, right? So we have the power to deal with this in the ways that we want to deal with it, all right? So just always remember that. Okay, so that's Saturday the 28th. I think that is all that I have for this video now. Thank you all for watching. If you have made it this far, please leave a purple heart in the comments so that I know you're a real one. And yeah, that's it. Take care, everyone. Have a great week. Bye for now. Bye.